Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of Acts of the Apostles. We're up to the beginning of chapter 8. Now, of course, in the previous section, Stephen has been stoned after his long speech to the Jewish leaders. And it says Saul was, we get a periphrastic construction here, he was with a participle, sun eudokon. Now, eudokio is contract verb to participle. It means to approve, it's to think well of, hence to approve, and the sun means along with them. The anhairesis, this is a third declension noun in is, it's an abstract noun. It's connected with haireo, to take. It's a bit like our very unpleasant expression to take someone out. But this use of haireo goes back to Homer, in fact, and the anahairesis is simply murder, to kill, the putting someone to death. So, but Saul was joining in approving the death or the murder of him, that is, of Stephen. Egenetodea, it came to pass, or there was perhaps in that day, well, this is not to be taken literally, it means really at that time, a diogmos megas. Diogmos is connected, it's a noun connected with the verb dioko, which is I pursue or I persecute, has more the sense of persecute in biblical Greek. In classical, it's more just to pursue, to chase after somebody. So this is diogmos, where the dioko, the kappa, turns into a voiced guttural before the mu. So diogmos, persecution. So there was great persecution at that time against the church, the one in Jerusalem. We get a slightly different spelling of Jerusalem here, as though it were neuter plural. All diesparesan. Now this is an aorist passive without the theta, because you've got a liquid letter here, the rho. The verb is from diaspero, and you get a vowel gradation from the ei to an alpha in the aorist passive. So diesparesan from diaspero. Spero is to sow or to scatter, and dia then is to, again, simply to scatter, and it's passive. So all of them were scattered, katatas koras, about the lands of Judea and Samaria, or plain, which takes a genitive here, except of the apostles. So it's plain plus a genitive for except the apostles. Sun ekomisan deton Stephanon Andres Eulabes. So this is men who were Eulabes, which is a word meaning pious or goodly. So pious men. This is from sun komisdo, which literally means to gather together or to gather up, but it has more the sense here of bury. So they gathered up his body and they buried him, is the sense of it here. So pious men buried Stephen, and Epoia son, they made kopiton. This is connected with kopto, to beat. So it's a beating, understand, of the breast, i.e. lamentation. So they made great lamentation over him, great lament over him. But Saul, elumineto, this is from luminamai, a word meaning to destroy, and it's imperfect, so perhaps it could be conative here. He's trying to destroy the church. Es poromenos, going in, katatus oikos. Well, it's almost house by house. It's almost a distributive sense here. So going in to their houses, or going in, it's almost house by house. Suron, suro, it's a participle. Suro is to drag. So dragging out the men and women. paradido, imperfect from paradidomi. He was handing them over to the prison. Hoimen un, therefore those who were, this is from diaspero again, that same verb we had before. This is the aorist passive participle here. Those then who had been scattered, diaelthon, were going around proclaiming the word. So preaching the gospel. Perhaps it's hard to get all of that into English. It's proclaiming the good news, the word. So preaching the gospel, you might say there. But Philip, having gone down into the city of Samaria, he was preaching to them the Messiah. He was proclaiming the Messiah to them. Prosakon, something like gave heed, so they paid attention. So the crowds were paying attention to what was being said. This is the dative plural present participle here. Passive, to the things being said by Philip. Homothumadon, one of Luke's favourite words, with one accord, with one thumos, with one soul. En-to plus infinitive here is generally in the sense of while. While they were listening to, while they were hearing, while they were listening to him, and I think the blepein also goes with this, with two infinitives, and while they were seeing the signs which he was doing. The next little bit, the grammar here doesn't, it's constructio ad sensum here, the grammar doesn't quite match what it is. It's literally for many of those having unclean spirits. Now that's a participle, neuter, agreeing with pneumata, crying out with a loud voice, they were coming out. That is, the unclean spirits were coming out, but in fact the subject is polloi. This is the people having the unclean spirits. They're not coming out, it's the unclean spirits coming out, but the grammar doesn't quite reflect that. So we have to paraphrase it a little bit here. There's been a change of sense as the sentence continues. Polloido and many parallelumenoi who were paralysed, this is a perfect passive participle, and koloi and the lame, they were being healed. They were healed. They were healed, aorist passive. And there was much joy in that city. There was much joy in that city. But a certain man, Simon by name, Pru Peruken, this is from, you'll notice that little diaeresis here. It's because it's coming from pro plus hoop arco, which means to exist previously. So it's just perhaps was previously or had for some time been. This Simon was presented in later Christian literature as the archetypal heretic, and in later Christian literature it is said that he followed Peter to Rome to continue attacking his Christian teaching. Much of this is probably fanciful, but he's just mentioned here. Simon is often known as Simon Magus, Magus being magician. So there was a certain Simon by name who it was previously in the city, maguon, participle, maguo is practicing magic, kai ex histanon. Now this is from this histano form of histemi. It's a regularization. This is the and there is a verb ex histemi, meaning to amaze, but now he's using this regularized version of his stami, and this is a participle. So he was amazing the race of Samaria. So this ethnos, this ethnic group of Samaria, saying himself to be a certain great man. So saying that he was someone who was very important. Hoi and everyone from the small up to the big, pros aiken, that's that verb we had before, gave heed to him. So it's a relative pronoun here, so it's to whom everyone gave heed, from the smallest up to the biggest, saying, literally, this man is, perhaps rightly, the one, the power of God which is called great. Again, the grammar's slightly odd here. So this man is the one who is rightly called, even though it's a feminine participle here. Is called the great power of God. So the megale must go with the dunamis being feminine. This man is, so you've got to put inverted commas and capitals here, I think. So this man is the one rightly called the great power of God, is how I would translate that. And we'll finish there.